Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Bytes, where we discuss all things crypto, DeFi, airdrops, and more. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be taking a little tour of one of the newer L1s out there, and that is called Berachain. Now, Berachain just launched their L1, I think it was late January, early February. Much anticipated, lots of hype behind it. They had been working on it for, a good 1 or 2 years. I didn't really get involved in any way, shape, or form with the testnet or any of the NFTs that you could have collected prior to the mainnet launch, which was kind of like the precursor to what their initial airdrop was for Berachain. Those NFTs were tens of thousands of dollars, and testnets I just don't generally do. So I didn't catch any of that. But that being said, since Berachain has launched, I have noticed that there's a good number of different apps on the protocol, the blockchain, that have pretty awesome yields on them. And most of the apps themselves are running airdrop campaigns, and they have not launched our tokens yet. And so that's what we're going to be focused on today is what are some of the great yields that I'm finding on Berachain at the moment. And also most of those apps that have the good yields are ones that are also running their own airdrop. Now, I'm not sure how much you've been following along with the markets, but since the launch of Berachain, the BERA token more or less skyrocketed. It started off at like $5 or $6 and went down a little bit, and then it shot all the way up to like $9 or $10. And then this last week or two, we're at the April 10th. So as you know, all the markets tanked, and Berachain tanked pretty heavily. It's down to about $4 now. So if you haven't been involved, I do think that the price is going to rebound. It already has started rebounding, as most of the market has, but I do think that obviously now is a better time than, say, 3 weeks ago to get involved in Berachain. So, with that said, let's go ahead and jump in, and I'll show you what I'm doing there. Alrighty, so the first application that we're going to be going over is called infrared. Now, infrared is, I believe, if not the largest, it is one of the top 3 largest DEXes slash vaults on Berachain. You can see right here that they have almost $1 billion in TVL, so it's quite large, and they do offer quite a good number of high APY pools that you can get into. Let me just sort this list by APY here. Yeah, so you can see that they have a bunch. And basically the way that this works is you'll set up, if you wanted to get into one of these vaults, is you'll be depositing first with a different protocol. So like Kodiak is one of the largest DEX, BEX is another one, Bulla is another one. So you'd go and create these pools on those DEXes, and then you come to infrared, and then you'd stake your pool deposit with them as opposed to staking it with these vaults. And what they do is they take the yield that is coming from these pools, specifically the BGT yield, and they are basically giving you this yield in what they call IBGT. So it's infrared's BGT. And so basically they're doing this is because a part of, I won't get into the details fully, but just so you're aware, on Berachain, one of the differentiators of the blockchain is that the apps can basically earn yield from the fees that are being generated from the transactions and deposits happening on that, and that yield is in the form of BGT, which is the governance token of Berachain. And so basically, with Infrared's version IBGT, they're basically keeping the BGT so that they can get governance rights and other goodies that come with that, and instead you're getting IBGT. IBGT is super liquid, so you're not going to have a problem selling it. It's hand in hand with the same price as BGT, so that's why you're getting this higher yield, is you're basically not keeping the governance token BGT, instead you're getting IBGT instead. So I just want to make that note. For me, I don't really care too much about that. I just want the money, right? So so I'm just here looking at the APRs, and most of these pools have BERA in them, and like I said, just in general, I'm not really going after any kind of assets other than stablecoins at the moment, other than JLP and a couple other things, and also have delta neutral strategies. But in general, when possible, if there's high enough APYs on stablecoins, I am going for that. And so what I'm focused on here on infrared is there's two pools here. Let's see. One is this dbUSD. I'll show you the details on that in a minute, but you can see the yield right now is 144%. This was closer to 200% a few days ago, so it looks like people are getting involved, even though there's almost $1 million in this pool. So this is the first one, and then the second one is, where is it? This USDbr and Honey. So Honey is a stablecoin, as is USDbr. USDbr is an algorithmic stablecoin, so a little bit riskier, whereas Honey is just USD backed, I believe. But so this is a more or less a stable, pairing, and you're getting 64% both in fees and then also IBGT. So I'm focused, and this one also has about $1 million in TVL. So I'm focused on those two pools here on infrared. It's not been overtly said that infrared's going to be having their own token and an airdrop, but most protocols do, and since this is one of the largest ones on Berachain, if and when they do that, I'm positioning myself for that now. And in the meantime, obviously, I'm getting 50+% APYs on stablecoins, which is awesome in and of itself, regardless of the airdrop. So that's pretty much what I'm doing on infrared. I have played with some other pools here. One thing I was doing earlier, prior to the most recent massive dump that we've had, is I was doing let's see, like a BERA honey pool, I believe it was, and that was this one here, and that's making 100% APY on so this is 50% stable, 50% BERA, and then I was shorting BERA on perps DEX that I'll show you guys about it in the meantime, to kind of have a delta neutral strategy. So there is that option here as well. If you're looking to be a little bit more risky, but then try and hedge your risks with the shorting, if that's something that you're interested in doing. So that is infrared. The next one, which actually I'll just briefly go through this just because I mentioned that's where one of the pools that I was using on infrared is from. This is Kodiak. I don't really have anything personally deposited here other than what I did to get into the vault on infrared, but they do have some nice APYs here on Kodiak as well, and they are almost $1 billion in TVL as well. So not as large as infrared, but pretty large here. Next one is Mad Honey. Now this one is basically a perps DEX, and then they have a vault similar to JLP where you're getting yield from they're counter trading the traders on the platform, and getting APY in other ways as well. And so pretty much they're currently running both their own points program, this DEX points, and then they also are partnered up with Turtle Club. If you're not familiar with Turtle Club is basically a third-party, I want to say app, but it's not even an app, it's just a website. But basically what they do is they set up partnerships with a ton of different applications across many different chains, and you can earn points with them by depositing in certain assets or pools that they've set up partnerships with. They've been running for a good year, so I do think that sometime in 2025 Turtle Club is going to have their own token and airdrop. So it's nice that you can get some points with them as well at the same time by doing this. So two ways to earn with Mad Honey. One is just simply trade, and I won't go through it, but on the leaderboard you can, with just like 10,000, 20,000 volume, you can be ranked pretty highly on that leaderboard as of right now. It might get more popular, but this is kind of new, so you should be able to rank decently here. And then what I've done is basically just deposited Honey into this Honey vault, and that gives me that USDbr whatever dbUSD here, and then that's what I did and used to deposit into infrared, which was making that 150% APY. So yeah, that's Mad Honey. Next one is this is just another perps DEX on Berachain. It's called Beritrax, BRO .trade, and pretty much with them, they are running their own rewards campaign. They say that they're collecting points. They just aren't showing it as of yet. So what I primarily just been using this for is to short BERA when I'm depositing that into these different protocols just as a hedge. So I'm getting points here, and yeah, I just have a little bit deposited here as I'm doing my shorts. They are this is like a front end for Vertex. Vertex is what powers the back end. So for those of you that know, Vertex has like 10 different DEXes on different chains. So you know it's a pretty solid DEX here, perp DEX. Next up is Beritrax. So Beritrax is just another DEX. They're much smaller than the ones than Kodiak and Infrared, yeah, but they do have some pretty nice APYs on some of these. So you can see they have about 10 or 15 pools here. The one that I'm in is this. Where are we? Losing it. Oh, just right here at the top. I'm in this NECT, which is another stablecoin, and WGBr, which is, I believe, a wrapped version of BERA from BERA. And so let me just show you here real quick. You know, you get 100% APY on here, but then what you're also getting is you're earning points for Love Score, which is, I believe, Beritrax's airdrop kind of points program. You're getting bird points for BERA, which is another DEX on Berachain. You're getting pollen points for BeraBorrow, which is another lending and borrowing platform on Berachain. And then you're getting BTX points. Actually, that's Beritrax's points program. So you're basically getting a 4-in-1 airdrop here, and then you're getting the 100% APY as well on top of that. So this is the pool that I am using on Beritrax, but you know they do have other things here like this massive 1500 APY on IBGT, which was what I showed you earlier on infrared, and then they have a couple other pools here too. So pretty simple, but you know, good APYs, and like I said, you can get like a 4-in-1 airdrop by depositing in this pool, and a few others also have a similar, you know, kind of multi-airdrop possibilities. So that is Beritrax. Next is Bulla exchange. So this one, just like Beritrax, is much smaller than Infrared and Kodiak. They only have about 1 million in TVL, but they've been around for a bit. They are running their own points program. You can see that on the leaderboard here, and they have pretty amazing yields displayed here. Now, let me just sort by this. You can see, you know, we're talking about many thousands of percentage on the yields. For me, I've been depositing in a little bit, like $100 each, into each of these pools that have the icon here, because these are the ones that are actually earning points for the Bulla airdrop. The other ones, I think they just haven't done it yet, because you can see like the TVL is so small that they're just not bothering. But yeah, pretty much with this, you just deposit. This is all concentrated liquidity, so you'll want to let me show you. You know, you'll want to pick the range that you want to deposit into. For me, I pick kind of the aggressive range. So I'm usually somewhere between this -5 to +5, -10 to +10 range, but I'm using the custom range when I'm doing these, because you know, I'll go on Dex Screener and basically find for like the past week kind of what the range has been that this pair has been trading it, and then I'll just set my range from the top and the bottom, and that's what I'll set here. So that way it'll usually, unless we have super crazy volatility like we have had recently, it should at least stay in the range for about a week or so without you having to bother. So, I'd recommend checking every now and then, and it does look like soon they're going to have automatic mode, which I assume that's going to mean that they're going to rebalance the pool for you. So that'll be nice if you're looking for a hands-off type of experience. Just one thing to note that I meant to say is with these crazy APYs that they're showing here, more than half of that is in the Bulla points. So they're like actually attaching a perceived value of what these points are going to be here. And I don't know, it seems a little bit too good to be true to me, to be honest, but the underlying APY is still very good, many hundreds if not thousands still for a lot of these pools with the concentrated liquidity. So I'm doing it mainly for that, but if and when they do their own airdrop and those points come out, if they're anywhere close to what they're claiming they're going to be, this one should be a pretty good cook. So yeah, and like I said, it's pretty small so far, so if they do catch more traction, you're pretty early here. So I wouldn't put too much in, but $50, $25, whatever you have into these different pools, or just choose one or two instead of spreading it around like me. And yeah, you never know, we'll see. So those are kind of the more speculative apps that I'm going to talk about in this right now. So let's move on to more on the stablecoin and stable pairing type of plays that I'm doing. So the first one here is on Dolomite. So Dolomite has been around for quite a while. They have their app on Berachain, but then they also have it on Arbitrum, Mantle, and Polygon ZK VM and XLayer. No clue what that is, but yeah, pretty much Arbitrum, Mantle, and Berachain are the most popular ones. And they just announced TGE, so they already finished the first season of their airdrop. I'm not sure if they're gonna have a second season. I assume that they will, and I assume that any activity that you do right now is going to count towards that, but it's not 100%. So just keep that in mind. So for me, I did qualify for the airdrop by using this on Mantle, but I do think that there's going to be a second airdrop, so I'm just kind of pre-using it now. But even if they don't, what I'm doing here that is yielding pretty good value is I'm basically farming the Reservoir airdrops. So let me show you that real quick first. Reservoir is a stablecoin issuer, and their stablecoin is this RUSD. So with them, they have a points program, and basically you can get points by holding RUSD. You can put it into different money markets. I believe they pretty much just support Berachain and Ethereum, so Ethereum mainnet. So yeah, you can use Morpho, Contango, and then on Berachain they have some pools on Kodiak, Goldilocks, which we didn't get into, but that's another DEX, and then Dolomite and Euler, which we'll get into Euler in a second here. So yeah, pretty much what I'm doing right now is I am using this the staked RUSD on Dolomite, so I'm getting 1 point per RUSD per day. If you wanted to get more points, you could just use RUSD, but let me show you why I'm doing the staked version. So on Dolomite here, you can see the APYs for supplying and borrowing. So for the staked RUSD, you're currently getting the 6.29, and that's the staking yield that Reservoir is giving. So this is fixed. It's not going to change as far as I understand. RUSD, where is it? Down here, doesn't have a fixed yield, but currently it's offering 2.73%. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using this staked RUSD, and then there's E mode that you can set on Dolomite here, and that basically means that if you want a specific borrow position to only be for stables as an example, which is what I'm using, or only be for BERA assets, or only be for ETH assets as an example, you can get a higher LTV on those because you're using like pairs on both the supply and the borrow side. So basically what I'm doing is I'm depositing the SRUSD, and then I'm looping that by borrowing, currently I'm borrowing Tether USDT, which is 4%. So I'm basically getting about a 2% difference in the deposit ratio. I'm able to loop up to 90% LTV, so about 9 times. So if you multiply this 2% by 9, we're getting about 20% APY on this leveraged position. And then in addition to that, because I'm able to leverage it 9 times, I'm getting the 1 point per SRUSD on Reservoir here. So I'm basically getting 9x the points because I'm able to do that looping. And so for me, I think that 20% APY is going to be greater than what the, because if I did the RUSD, then I'm basically going to be losing 2%. So I'm going to be basically losing like 15% on my deposit just to get that 2x points on Reservoir. So, totally up to you how you see your strategy and want to do it. But for me, especially in this time, and what I've gone through over the past year with airdrops in the market and stuff, is I take, what I can get right now, as opposed to hoping that the airdrop cooks really well in the future. So I think I'm still going to do perfectly fine, just getting that 1 point per dollar instead of the 2. And then I'm also getting that upfront 20% APY, which, allows me to continue adding to the collateral as well at the same time. So that's my strategy on Dolomite with the Reservoir airdrop. And like I said, you're also potentially qualifying for season 2 of Dolomite as well. There are some other, cool assets here. If you wanted to farm Athena, they do have USDe, so you could do something similar, deposit that. And then you could even, borrow USDe Tether. But you can see here the borrow rates for these stablecoins are quite low. So you could be doing that. You could be, if you just wanted to get leverage on BERA or on ETH or something like that, you could do some looping with that as well. So lots of different options on Dolomite, and they're super solid. I've used them for well over a year now. And yeah, that is those. And then last but not least, this is going to be a high APY strategy, but I'm going to talk to you about a hedge that I'm doing to mitigate risk as much as possible. So what we're on here is Origami. So Origami is another kind of vault application across multiple chains. So you can see here that they have basically different automated leverage strategies. So if you wanted to, again, farm Athena, they have leverage strategies so you can get more points and, APY. Stables, usual, that's another stable coin. Pendle, ETH. So all of these you can see have, kind of lower APYs. And then they have some stuff for Berachain. So let's go and take a look at those. And basically they have, a number of different pools where they have like auto compounding and different ways for you to leverage so that you can increase the APY that you're earning. Origami is also running their own points program, so you're earning points for them as well. But for the purposes of this, I'm focused on this Origami pool. And so with them, you're basically taking that IBGT, what we talked about earlier, the infrared BGT, you're depositing in here, and then, they're basically, behind the scenes doing different leverage to maximize the amount that you're able to earn from that. Currently, the percent that you're earning is 1.1500 APY, which is freaking crazy. So just by depositing here and holding it, you can get that. You saw on that Beritrax that they also have the same thing. So the APY of IBGT just in general is really high right now. But I don't know how long it's going to stay that way, but for now it's awesome. So what you could do is, instead of staking your IBGT on infrared, which on there. I think it pays like 400 or 500%. You can put it in here, and you're getting Origami points, and then also earning the APY. So that's one thing if you just want to do that. But what I'm doing to earn even a higher APY and also hedge against this is I'm using Euler Finance. If you're not familiar with Euler Finance, it's basically another app where they have a bunch of different kind of looping strategies built in, so that you can get max APYs and then also max points if you're farming certain things. They're across many different chains. You might have seen me do some videos on what I'm doing on there with Sonic, but they have mainnet based, swell chain, built on Bitcoin, Avalanche. So they have a bunch of different chains. They've been around for a while. And yeah, basically what I'm doing is I'm depositing my Origami into here, and then I'm borrowing BERA against it. And you can do up to a 4x loop on that, and that would give you an ROE of 6,000%. So basically you're getting a higher APY by depositing in here, and then you're borrowing BERA, which now you're hedged against the price, because if one goes down, the other goes down, as opposed to just if you had only Origami or IBGT, if the price goes down, you have nothing to hedge against that. So that's what I'm doing here, and then that allows me to also increase the amount that I'm depositing, because I'm depositing the IBGT, borrowing BERA, swapping that back into IBGT, putting it into Origami, and then manually doing that 3 or 4 times to max out. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I'm doing on Berachain at the moment. A little bit more complicated than maybe some of my videos, but hopefully I was able to simplify it as much as possible. And yeah, again, I do think that in general the market is going to have upside hopefully by the end of this year. In the meantime, I think there's going to be a lot of chop, and so that's why I'm really focused on these strategies with high APYs, airdrop farming, and then also hedging whenever I can. Those are kind of the core things that I'm focused on now, and Berachain offers a lot of those things. So hope this was helpful, and yeah, until next time, thanks again, and happy farming.